to be successful for him when we use him. And that's all I can really say.
Are you comfortable with him running your offense if, in fact, Mark does go down? Your conventional offense that you're installing with everybody else, or do you have to modify your offense the way that Denver did last year for him?
Yeah, again, our plan for Tim will be, specific for Tim to give him the best chance to be successful. But, Tim's also improving as a thrower. If you go to the first series against the Giants, I was encouraged by some of the throws he made from the pocket early in the second half. But with that said, that's ultimately going to be Tony's call to what plays he's going to run based on who's in the game. But again, when you can add someone of Tim's athletic ability, competitiveness, and we felt like the price was reasonable, those to me are opportunities.
Let me just say, Mike Tannenbaum joins us a few more moments here, the general manager of the New York Jets. Last thing on Tebow, because God knows we've talked about Tim Tebow day and night. You guys brought him in here knowing what came with him. And it's not Tim's fault, by the way. Legion of fans, all the attention. And I know that you guys did consider doing Hard Knocks again and ultimately decided we did it once, we're not going to do it again, let someone else have it. But then you allowed ESPN to plant the flag at Cortland and create, as Rex even said, ESPN's version of Hard Knocks. With all, there's nothing but Tim Tebow, Mark Sanchez. So I'm trying to figure out, why were you guys almost desperately seeking that kind of attention? Was it about selling tickets, as a lot of us believe? No, I don't understand why you'd allow the franchise to be put in that spot and bring that kind of attention. It was really like a circus all summer.
Yeah, and I appreciate your opinion, Craig. I just don't see it that way. ESPN wanted to cover us, and they covered us in Denver.
You could have said no, right?
Without question. But again, it was a way for us, for our fans to see us. It wasn't about us seeking attention. I do think we have a great story to tell. I know how hard these players and coaches work. I know how much Rex drives these guys, and we don't have anything to hide. And the fact that ESPN wanted to, show some plays from practice, to me, there wasn't anything negative that came out of that. We have a great story to tell, and I'm really proud of, especially like when you look at what we've done since this offseason and this staff. I think we could do a lot of really good things this year.
What do you think your biggest, for lack of any better term, failure was this offseason? Not knowing what you'll do Labor Day with the waiver wire. As far as the position, now that you look at your team as it's being assembled, and you guys have that depth chart up on your wall where you know who you're going to go to war with as of right now.
Right.
When you look at that, you don't have to name names on the current team.
Sure.
But what position do you think, I wish I had done better there?
Yeah.
Looking at your team today.
Yeah, again, Craig, I would just say, right now our roster's not complete. So
right tackle, okay. Depth at wide receiver. Were you in the running for another running back? Were you considering some depth there or no?
I think you're going to be happy with our wide receivers. Hopefully you'll have me on the show sometime during the season. And we
could talk about you could have the last laugh. That would be the.
I'd love that, by the way.
Maybe I think for most Jet fans, having the last laugh would mean that Mark Sanchez is, his completion rate is 65%. He's throwing, 3 touchdowns to every interception, and he looks great on the field, and he's confident. Now, one other thing that I was reading this morning, a little disturbing, and I think if I were the GM or the or the head coach, I'd be very disturbed, and that's the fact that Darrelle Revis said 2 things. One, that he felt like this team wasn't in shape last year to play the spread offenses, and 2, he feels that you guys haven't done enough to support Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I haven't seen those comments yet, but anything like that, we would address privately. Look, I'm glad Darrell's here.
Let me give you the quote, then you can respond. It's a Newsday today. You've got to do what's best for the team, said All-Pro cornerback Darrelle Revis, and I don't know if we've been wise in that department.
Yeah. Time
what? Hello.
Oh, he's not getting a new contract this year.
That's your star player saying that.
Right.
He was talking about Mark Sanchez.
I think he was trying to be a nice guy and be supportive of his teammate. But unfortunately, when you say stuff like that, there's going to be collateral damage.
Sure. And again, look, you look at the Saints situation at linebacker. Every linebacker they sign has gotten hurt. And as you guys well know, in our sport, when you have multiple injuries at one position, it's tough. And for whatever reason, this year it's been at receiver. So has our offense looked exactly how we had hoped it would and the way we designed it? Not yet. We have work to do. We know that, but we're confident we're going to get it done. And we've had some guys, and it could be a Jordan White, it could be a Patrick Turner. There's going to be guys that are actually getting more opportunities now that down the road, these opportunities in August can help actually
pay dividends.
No
right.
question.
I know we got to let you go here in a minute.
I was just going to ask him really quickly. Again, you go.
Well, I was just say on the wide receiver, you had a lot of name wide receivers out there. Braylon Edwards, who played for you, of course. Yep. You had, I know T.O. came back. Plaxico still available. Chad Johnson released from Miami.
Right.
So you had guys out there that were available to you. You have every wide receiver on your team is injured.
Yeah.
Did you consider any of those guys and at least talk to an agent and contemplate bringing any of those guys in?
Yeah, without getting into specifics, anytime we get an opportunity we think to improve the team, we're going to do that. But one of the challenges you have is when you see young players make improvement, you always try to balance that. So could we make a change or two on our roster? Absolutely, between now and opening day. That's certainly been our track record. But it's going to be measured against how these guys do, and sometimes their progress isn't seen in a game. It's in a practice. It could be ball skills, whatever we're looking at. But we're encouraged by these young guys, and I think over the course of the season they're going to help us.
It's kind of interesting. We always seem to come from the negative, but you did bring in 2 new safeties, Bell and Landry. Now Landry, as I was telling Coach, that I do think he's an injury waiting to happen because of the way that he plays. He's so relentless. He's just, but he fits the identity, I think, of what Pettin and Rex are trying to get done on defense. So those are good signings, it looks like, thus far.
Well, I think anytime you have a need, like we identified at safety or depth at safety, I think you want to attack it 2 ways. Like one is, as we did with those signings, but we also drafted 2 guys, Antonio Allen and Josh Bush. Again, neither guy is a household name, but both those guys are actually looking good as well. So, we have 4 new safeties at that position with Eric Smith. And again, we were just trying to address the depth there.
Right. Let me tell you something else I'm not buying. I'm just gonna keep it clean because you lied to me before. It's the nature of being a general manager. I'm not gonna be upset about it. I'm gonna be a big boy here. But you told one of, if not the biggest, bold-faced lies any sports personality in New York has ever told in 100 years. There is no way the Mike Tannenbaum basketball team is 4-0 and you're playing on it. I don't care what you say. That ass of yours ain't posting anybody up. And unless you got ringers out there, there's no way. The phone rings in the middle of the night. I wake up. I'm competitive. You ain't 4-0, dude.
Well, we could just go by what we see. And the nice thing about it is I have 9 witnesses, including the great Sal Palantonio.
Are you playing on this team or are you coaching the team?
I was playing on the team. But, that goes back to what they say about Nick Saban. Nick Saban has never lost a game at LSU or Alabama at lunch when they play basketball. He just happens to pick the team every time.
Exactly. You got to make sure you don't lose. That's exactly right.
Mike, listen, I appreciate you coming in. Obviously, as a Jet fan, I'm not thrilled with the talent that my eyes see out there offensively. I do think as of right now, you're going to war with the worst offense you've put together. But I know Labor Day is big for you guys. And I got no choice but to hope that the guys that you expect big things from, Hill, obviously the draft pick, and we saw a little bit of Curley last year. You look good, obviously, that those guys get it done because your schedule's very tough, playing against a lot of very tough defenses. And as good as your defense is, scoring 10 points a game is not going to get it done. So hopefully you guys are right and know more than the rest of us, and we wish you the best.
Well, I appreciate it and look forward to coming on in the fall and seeing how this all unfurls.
So what we have? So we're gonna. Every week you come on now? Once a month? What's the story with that?
We pay at the station or no?
No, we don't pay guests on our show.
We don't. Okay, good.
Good seeing you, Mike.
Thanks,
all right,
Mike.
thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Mike Tannenbaum. We will wrap it up right after this.
Make